G'day guys, we're back for episode 30 of the Infra-Red podcast. Don't start. Don't you look at me, Mitch.
I won't say anything.
Oh, yeah. No, Mitch, say something. Say something, Mitch. Yeah, all right. You do your eating thing. Tonight's a very exciting episode. Really excited for it. Tonight we've got Bertie and we've got Nicky coming on the podcast to talk about art and music culture and Pachamama and everything about just everything and everything. All right, so my classic one-liner that I like to start off with.
Off you go, Alex.
Yeah, off I go. So what do you guys do? How do you guys get into it? Like, you know, what do you guys do around Perth and the music culture? And
should we start off with you first, Nicky, and Pachamama?
Yeah.
Okay, so Patchamama's been going for about 2.5 years, and we've gone through a few changes over those 2.5 years of the direction that we wanted to go in, but music has always been its focus. So we generally like to run events where we only have female DJs. I think that female DJs are not represented enough in our music scene.
Yeah,
and
I agree. Yeah.
I really love giving a platform for up and coming new DJs, to a place to gain some experience, to practice their skills in a really supportive environment, and if they make mistakes, it's a soft cushion to fall. We only hold really small events, so there's not so much emphasis on having to really perform at their very best. You know, it's everyone's there to have a good time. It's really supportive.
It's about fun.
It's about fun, and
like just the right atmosphere.
And not just
thing,
that,
right?
we have such diverse range of DJs that the more experienced DJs love mentoring the younger girls, and occasionally they'll come up on stage and go, "Oh, you just need to tweak those levels a little bit.
That's pretty cool.
You know, you just haven't quite got it right. You're right there, girl. You know, off you go now." And you know, and if we do have some tech stuff, and the new girls will be like, "Oh my God, what's happened?" You know, the older, more experienced DJs come in and go, "It's all right. I know how to fix it. It's all good. Take a breather." So I love that. I love that we've created this non-competitive, really community-based mentoring group of DJs that has filtered out into more of a community as well. It's not just about the DJs.
Where did it grow out of? Like, obviously there was a necessity for this kind of environment.
So it started probably summer 2018. I was at a most amazing crew party out in the bush. Really well organised, great crowd, great people, good crew, everyone was having a great time. It was probably about, I don't know, somewhere around midnight, beautiful balmy night. We're all, you know, dancing on the dance floor. The tunes were great. And there was this one person that was ruining it for everybody. And credit to all the men at the event. They all tried their hardest to go up to him and go, hey, mate, leave the girls alone.
It's always just that one guy, right?
And, you know, they were really good at looking after us, but slowly the dance floor just started, the girls started leaving just because of this one individual. And then I sat down and thought about it, and I thought, this is awful. Like, I was having such a good time. The music's good, the vibe's good, the people are good, but this one person
just ruined it for
has
everyone.
ruined it for everybody, men and women. So I made the decision that night. I was sitting down with my two besties. I said, I want to hold one event a year just for women, run by women, for women, all DJs, only female DJs, female security staff, the whole works. And from there we grew. We formed a committee. We did a few really small fundraising events to create a community. So we started doing things like clothes swapping parties. We had a cocktail party. We did a few sort of team building things. We had a few art and craft days. So I'm sure you'll pull up some footage later of our beautiful stage that we painted. But that took about 20...
Well, why don't we do that now
Yeah.
while we're talking about it?
So this beautiful stage,
Check out that.
my husband found the image on Pinterest. And when we were trying to think of a name and an image, he said, why don't you go with Pachamama? Because Pachamama is the earth goddess. She is our mother nature.
So is that actually where it came from?
Pachamama is the South American goddess.
No way.
Like our mother nature.
Okay. That makes so much sense. I was like, that's an
so they have in South
cool
America,
name.
they have the Pachamama and the Pachamak. So Pachamama is the earth and the Pachamak is the sun.
Okay.
And they work together. So because we wanted to embrace everything that was feminine, we thought, well, let's create this most beautiful stage. So she's 6 meters tall and 4.5 meters wide. And we laid her out on my back lawn, and basically we got a picture of her with a data projector and traced her on.
Right.
And then basically got another picture and paint by numbers.
It's so quite the little like operation you'd have to go through to make something like this. It's quite big.
So and it took, as I say, it was a couple of busy bees, and everyone in the community that were arty all came along. And we just loved it. It was, and she's all painted with UV paint.
So she does glow in the dark then.
Yeah, she glows.
She go. Oh, there you go.
And
so
then,
I thought that was a light underneath it shining
no,
up.
No, she
That's
fully.
amazing.
We used a huge amount of really, really high quality paint on her. And then when you change the lighting, we can change it from blue to pinks, all different hues with the UV and with some lighting effects. And then Kingsley, our VJ guy, who is just amazing, he created all the visuals that happen behind her. Because I had this vision of, I didn't just want to have DJs in a DJ booth. I wanted to create this full interactive scene where people not only watched the DJs, but they were mesmerised by these amazing graphics,
like a whole
and lighting.
experience kind of thing.
Yeah, like this whole 3D, and credit to Kingsley, it took him months and months and months of programming, and he's like, what kind of visuals? And I'm like, imagine you were like, had a kaleidoscope and you were looking through a kaleidoscope and it was changing all these fractals and mandala figures, and he came up with exactly what I wanted in the colour schemes, and it was great. So even though Patchamama is predominantly a women's group, we have a few really great men who help behind the scenes. I cannot get up a 6 metre scaffold and build a stage. So
it's
my
pretty
husband,
scary high up there.
Yeah, so my husband and a couple of his mates do the build crew. I have Kingsley, who does all our VJ, stage manager. He's my sound and audio tech whiz. And then I normally have 1 or 2 guys that do security at our events.
So, Robbie, how are you involved in all of this?
I had a friend invite me around. She worked with Nicky, like in the normal world.
In the normal world.
And I just went to one of the fundraisers, which was like
cocktail party.
So much fun. I thought that was the actual doof. I just had never been to a doof before. And yeah, like I felt really safe and happy there, and then heard about the party that was going to be happening in October and booked the time off straight away. And also, yeah, was given the opportunity to DJ there. I was very much a baby DJ at the time, so it was pretty great to be doing like one of my first big gigs like out in the bush. It was just like absolutely amazing.
How long have you been DJing now for, Robbie?
It's been just over 2 years now.
Yep.
I do have a video in my file of us like playing, and it shows what Nicky was saying, how it like changes colors and you can see the VJing and everything. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying to think. It was with Xanthi, so my best girlfriend, and we played together.
Xanthi actually says, sounding great, Nicky, and hey, Robbie. She's commented, by the way.
Hi, Xanthi.
There you go.
All the way from Singapore.
Yeah, so we played a I think it was a 4 a.m. set because there were so many DJs, so it had to be spread all around. But it was like a great challenge for us to like actually play a set at that time, try to stay up. Like the whole process into that was really
and it was
exciting
freezing
and
cold.
fun. It was so cold.
Did you get to watch the sunrise as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that
was
would have been cool.
it was really beautiful. Some of the footage and photos I have of just the sun coming up as we're playing,
and it was
inside the stomach of this incredibly.
Well, now that you say that, I've actually got a video that Nicky just sent me, so I'm going to play that one now, and we can talk over the top of it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But
yeah, you can see that.
So that's Natalia and Rochelle.
Just give me a sec. It's not popping up on.
So what's it actually made out of? Is it like wood or?
It's actually made out of plywood.
Plywood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 9 sheets of
9
ply.
sheets. Holy crap.
So 8 stacked, and then 1 on top as the crown.
Is it hard to like set it up kind of
So
thing?
it takes 2 lots of scaffolding. So it's done in it's held up by a scaffolding frame behind it. And then we need another scaffolding frame in front to put it up. So it's a 4-man all day job to put it up. Comes down quite quickly, but because because it's so high, then there's all the safety requirements that we have to make sure, especially if it's windy.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing we want is a 6-meter stage falling down on everybody. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of structural things that we have to do to secure it.
Yeah.
Just give me a
And so
second,
it's
guys. I'm just.
It's glitching.
Not really. I just haven't set this up properly, so you just have to forgive me for
We'll just
30
keep
seconds.
going.
Yeah,
And so it's completely waterproof as well then, obviously.
There we go.
We have put just a gloss on the front so that, but generally we don't do events too much in the rain. I tend to find that, let's be honest, most girls don't really want to go dancing in the rain, in the freezing cold, in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Some do, and that's great for them. But yeah, we tend to hold more events when it's not raining.
Yeah.
I do love I love a winter festival. So
I love a
much.
winter
So
festival
I really
too,
love
but-
wearing like so many layers.
Yeah.
And
Until you
just
slip
big,
over the
big,
mud
fluffy-
bikes.
Yeah, I know. It's all part of the fun.
And
Yeah,
credit to Bertie, because when
Don't
she
get sweaty.
when she played for us and they'd finished their set, and we had like a 1 to 2 hour break where we'd turn the music off because I had 17 DJs playing over 26 hours.
Sorry, guys.
Wait,
Crazy,
so how many hours?
17 DJs playing over 26 hours.
26 hours. Holy crap. Okay.
And the only time the music was intended to stop was really between 4 and 6 or 4 and 7 in the morning. And Roberta and Xanthi were playing, and I went up and said, "Okay, girls, your set's finished. It's totally up to you." And they're like,
and
"Oh."
someone pulled out.
Yeah, and we had someone who didn't turn
played
up,
for
and I said,
ages.
"Look, it's up to you. You can either finish now and we'll just turn the music off and keep it nice and quiet, or you can keep playing." And they're
we were
like,
like,
"Can we keep
"Fuck
playing
yes,
through to sunrise?"
definitely.
And
Of
they
course.
just did this off the cuff, amazing set. Yourself and
Yeah,
Xanthi
it was
doing
really
back to
cool.
back, and it was so funky. They looked like absolute rock stars
It
up on
was
stage.
actually amazing experience for us. Like, also, being fairly new, being pushed into that, and I think that has been a really great learning experience for us.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I
that
told you
morning
at the
set.
car park rave I saw you ages and ages ago, where it's like, I've always believed in the idea of throwing yourself in the deep end almost.
Oh,
kind of
totally.
Because it's like if you throw
I'm
yourself
all
in the
about
deep
that.
end, then
Don't
next
overthink
time,
it.
yeah, that's it. Next
Yeah,
time
yeah.
you do it, it's
You're
not
gonna
going to be
have
that
like
bad.
fun
kind of
anyway.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
All right, I finally have this video
Oh,
sorted.
you
So
did.
how about we
Yay.
give
Finally
that a
got
watch?
it.
This is
Enjoy
a
that.
video of the stage in action.
Here we go. It's so cool. And so that's a tarp behind? for doing the visuals?
Believe it or not, it's an Oz Trail gazebo wall, a white one.
And it
and it makes there's you. And it makes a really great projection screen.
Are those lasers?
They're lasers.
Yeah,
No
that was
way.
actually so beautiful because
So-
it played out for like miles into the forest.
See, that's what one of my friends,
incredible.
Josh, has
Yeah.
always said, where it's like if you got lasers playing out through the forest, it's just like you can
And it's
see it
really
just-
great if you have like a little bit of mist or a little bit of fog, and then it really picks up the laser. And
How good it looked.
Do you guys ever use like smoke machines for that? I mean, it being
sometimes
outdoor,
Kingsley's got a few,
Look at
not just
that.
So cool.
smoke machines, but they're like these, I don't know, mist sprays that just create not quite so much smoke, but just a little bit of atmosphere to pick up the lasers. And then you find when you're in the bush, if you're dancing on dirt, you create a dust storm.
That's exactly
And
it.
the
Yeah.
dust particles on a
Xanthi.
laser. So there's Xanthi on
That's
stage.
Xanthi playing. So we had our huge coats on.
Looking baller with a huge coat.
I remember, there was this most hilarious moment where I didn't realize I dropped like the Red Bull because we were kind of like so delirious and a bit tired at this point. And then Xanthi and I, all the bottoms of our coats were soaked in Red Bull. And I
Oh, it
just remember
smelled
she
like
was like
sugar.
a little bit annoyed at me, but I couldn't stop laughing.
That's amazing though. And then so you've got the sound system just to the right and left hand side.
The
of
sound
booth,
system
right?
is actually behind her legs.
Oh really?
Yeah, so we use the Serenity sound system, owned by Jeremy and the boys, and so all the subs are actually stacked behind her legs. So the legs are actually painted on mesh, not on boards.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that way the sound
Well
comes
thought
through. So
out.
that works twofold, as it stops people putting drinks on speakers,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a pet hate for anyone who owns any sound system.
100%. Yeah.
It also protects the speakers a little bit from dust, and it hides them.
Yeah.
So then we just have a few stacks either side as well.
This is quite the setup. Like,
It's
this is
amazing.
really
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got any footage of our Area 51 silent disco, but we did an alien themed party.
Yeah.
And
So
the
good.
projection screens on the side of the stage that you can see in that image are actually the wings of our Star Wars TIE fighter stage.
Yeah.
Really?
I've
Yeah,
seen
so
a photo of
it
that
looks
actually.
Yeah, so we
Incredible.
multi-use, and a lot of what we build our stages, we try and use recyclable materials as much as possible, because
really good as
because
well,
we're
though.
really, my hubby and I are hippies, and there's so much waste on our planet. So we've got an agreement with a local business that has a lot of building materials in their skip bin, and they have a lot of building materials that come as packing between other things. So we give them a list of what we're looking for, and when it comes in, they're like, right, we've just had so many sheets of this come in, do you want it? And we're like, yep, we'll be there this afternoon.
That's awesome.
We've got a whole heap of paint donated as well, and then any leftover paint I donated to other groups, and a few girls that were having a hard time and wanted to get into some art therapy. I'm like, we've got some paint left over, you can take it all got donated to us.
That's so good though. Like a
So we're
community
trying
thing.
to reduce our waste,
Yeah.
reuse and recycle as much as we can.
But that's just amazing. It's like keeping the community involved instead of just being like, we're just doing this, you guys can come and hang out.
Well, I
It's like,
feel
no,
like-
we're not
It's
using
all
this.
about
Here you
that.
guys go. Like,
I feel like that's pretty much the way it's been in the rave scene for a long time. It's leave no trace.
yeah.
It has
I
to
agree.
be.
We've always
It
had
would
that.
be that. It would
Otherwise
be
you won't be able
wonderful
to
if
do them.
everybody actually followed that leave no trace.
Yeah.
We're finding that it's really good in theory. Not so many people practice it, which has
Yeah.
been really disappointing.
Yeah,
And in the
I think if you
underground,
clean up after yourself, you're pretty much good. But
It's just
Yeah.
one of those hard things to enforce though. Like, it's-
and some crews are better than others, and it's nothing to do with the organisers. All the organisers are right onto it. But we had an incident maybe about 6 months ago where the organisers did an amazing job cleaning up all the event. The place was spotless when we left.
Yep.
And as we were driving out, everybody had dumped all their rubbish on the side of the road on the way out.
No,
Really?
that's so
And it was
gross.
and because we already had all the cars, the trucks, the trailers full, we couldn't come back and grab that rubbish at that time.
yeah.
Oh,
And
so
then
you
they
have to
got in
leave it
trouble
there.
because they didn't get, it took a day to get back to get that
Yeah.
rubbish, which they cleaned up, credit to them. So that there are little incidences that happen from punters like that.
Do you know if they got a fine or anything like that? At all?
I don't know if they got a fine. I know they got threatened with a fine.
Okay.
But I think because the boys were pretty onto it with cleaning it all up as
Yeah.
soon as possible and doing the right thing, that I don't, to the best of my knowledge, don't believe that they got fined.
That's good then.
Yeah.
Like, that's really good. 'Cause
But
instead of just being
it's
slapped with a
incidences
fine,
like that really
it just ruins
bring-
it for everyone.
brings bad press into our little scene. We all love the underground music scene, whether it's the raves, the doofs, the warehouse parties.
Yeah.
Well, This is a good opportunity to sidetrack here a little bit, but talking about like putting a bad name on the industry, we have a bit of news that happened.
Oh yeah, with Paramount.
Yeah, last weekend.
Rest his soul.
Do you want to explain that one, Alex?
I can't remember his name, but apparently
one of the managers of Paramount nightclubs.
You can probably try and pull it up as well.
I'll see if I can pull something up.
ABC, I think, Mitch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, apparently, a 40-year-old guy went from Paramount. He was one of the venue managers, or quite high up there. He left the club to go get a kebab across the road, got into an altercation with a young guy who was like maybe 20 or 21 years old, and then got king hit, and then passed away, unfortunately, this week. Like, I think yesterday or the day before.
Yesterday, I think.
And apparently, he's got a 4-year-old daughter and it's like I think a 4 or 6-year-old daughter and like maybe a 3-month pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, his wife's pregnant as well. It's devastating.
It is
absolutely
ridiculous.
Devastating.
And then I have to do a shout out. Shout out to my mate Liam Jones, who's actually, as soon as this happened, because he's got a daughter now who's maybe I think 9 months or maybe a year old. Yeah. He's actually started the GoFundMe to try and actually like raise awareness and just put a stop to this kind of shit.
King hits are really scary. I mean, like I'm a parent who has kids that go into Northbridge. And every time my son goes into Northbridge on his own, a little part of me says a little prayer like, please keep him safe. And he is not an aggressive man in any way, shape or form. But these days you don't have to be. You can just be walking down the street. So my heart absolutely goes out to his family. You just have to glance
at someone the wrong way. He's in a bad mood or something like that. And it's, the alcohol and the drugs that are all mixed in with it. It's not a good outcome usually.
Well, like a good example of that is Sky. Shout out to Sky Donald, right? The last time I got to hang out with him, we went to the Universal Bar. I was doing a gig there. We went and got a pack of cigarettes from the local convenience store next to the Brass Monkey.
Yeah.
And some guys actually followed us, waited out the front of the store, and then as soon as we left, they're like, give us your smokes. And I kind of just looked at the guy and I was like, I'm not giving you my smokes. Yeah. And he was like, no, come on, give us your smokes, mate. Nah, see you later. Just crossed the road with Sky and went back to the Universal Bar. Yeah. Problem was, the guy that was after us, similar thing. Yeah. Short little scrawny guy. It's like, come on, give us your cigarettes, mate.
What would you say to people? What would you say to people who use the excuse, "Oh, that's inevitable to happen when there's alcohol and drugs involved"?
It's no excuse. That's like people just need to learn to be self-aware. Like I drink alcohol, my partner drinks alcohol. We don't do shit like that. You know. Self-awareness.
I would say it's more of a meathead mentality, unfortunately. Yeah.
And I think too, it's we're almost breeding this society at the moment that doesn't take responsibility for self. Take ownership of knowing your limits and your consumptions of alcohol. 100%. There's plenty of education out there and advertising from all the different government departments about drink less, be drug aware and all those things that people should learn their limits.
That's it.
And it's not that hard. Listen to your body.
Don't
be
try
kind.
to like numb it out.
I think there's a little mentality at the moment in the nightlife scene where it's you go out to get fucked up, you go out to get drunk and have a good time. But like, I think. I mean, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I'm just going to repeat it here. But like, you drink to a point where you're drunk, like not slizzard but drunk, and then you stop, you pace yourself, you top yourself up just to give yourself just so you can still control yourself, you still have a little bit of sense here, and you don't go off and do stupid aggressive things, but at the same time you're still, your inhibitions are gone and you're having a bit more fun, you're letting loose.
I don't know, I mean, I've been nightclubbing for 30 years and we didn't have quite the level of violence in the club scene 20, 30 years ago. We used to have small incidences where you'd have a street fight or there'd be a brawl or, there was an idiot in a club that got thrown out. But we didn't have the king hit culture that we have now. And I wonder if that's because of the increase in meth.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think it is the meth epidemic, unfortunately.
I really do. And it is a huge epidemic that's happening that's breaking down social structures, it's destroying relationships, it's destroying people's mental health.
I've got a little bit of a first-hand story. Not many people know this about me, but I grew up in Busselton, and we're growing up in Busselton. My parents actually owned the very first security business down there, which started in the 90s. And so with that, I got to watch the whole thing unfold, where originally, talking about bikies and stuff, there were the Rebels Clubhouse down south, and there were just a bunch of old guys that had their daughters and their kids and stuff like that in school, and they just wanted to ride motorbikes and be part of something.
Yeah.
Then basically the new chapter came down. When the new chapter came down, they moved into the heart of Bustleton.
Yeah.
And they just started making meth in Bustleton and Bunbury, and it skyrocketed. It got out of control, and it just became like where I could go home at the Esplanade Hotel, walk from the Esplanade Hotel for about 40 minutes and not get bothered. And I might be one or two with 2 or 3 mates, and there'd be no problems. So
you've seen it happen in Bunbury?
I've seen it happen all the time down Bustle when I was growing up.
I think there is a case for it, because I do know a lot of people who say that, especially like when it comes to drugs and MD and stuff, they're selling what they label as MD that has meth in it, because just meth's cheaper and easy to make. So if you're going to buy pills out at a club, you're 50% of the time, I reckon you're going to get meth. So
okay. I just got to do a quick shout out as well. Shout out to Gonzo for not allowing pill testing over in New South Wales and keeping this country 5 years, 10 years behind everyone else.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
Here's another good thing we can discuss.
Gladys.
How over the like pill testing debate are you guys on that's going on in New South Wales at the moment?
I actually think
on at the moment,
I think that they should allow pill testing personally.
Yeah,
I think that would do 2 things. I think it would actually reduce the amount of bad drugs on the street, because then people have got the choice to say, okay, I've had my drug tested, it's not what I thought that it was.
It's not battery acid.
Then
it's battery acid.
and then they've got then to make that decision of, do I want to take it or don't I want to take it? Where when you don't test it, you're going in blind.
Nikki, what did you do for work as well, by the way?
So I'm a naturopath. But I work in corporate health as a corporate massage therapist.
Yep. So you're very qualified for all this to an extent.
Well, I don't know if I'm very qualified of being an authoritative on drug use. I've got some friends who are drug and alcohol counsellors who are far more versed in different things available to help people than myself. But what I have noticed is that over the last, say, 10 years, that mental health seems to be becoming our biggest epidemic. Like, people are worried about COVID. Mental health is far more rife in our community than coronavirus.
Anxiety, depression,
and anxiety and depression. Now, whether that's a breakdown of social structure, whether that's because there's more drug use in the community, we know that because they're testing the water, and they're testing the wastewater and seeing the levels of what drugs are in our wastewater, which is really scary.
Really?
Yeah, and it's happening Australia-wide. Both rural and in cities. And the statistics of how much drugs are in wastewater is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I think that it's this almost like this revolving problem of cascade of, there's this mental health problem that's exacerbated by drug use, but the drug use is exacerbated by mental health, by low economics, and so this vicious circle happens where people take drugs because they're bored, they don't know what to do.
Exactly it.
They're depressed, so they take drugs, they drink alcohol, which then makes their depression, and people are going around in circles.
It's just a vicious cycle to an extent.
And there are some really great programs out there to help people.
We're lucky we're in Australia, I think, because if you were in any other country, well, maybe not any other country, but
I think
a lot of other countries, you would just be on your own.
Look, Amsterdam have got some really good policies in. My girlfriends who are drug and alcohol counsellors did 20 years in Amsterdam working with drug and alcohol abuse over there. And then they come over here as well, and they used to sit on the governing bodies of the Drug and Alcohol Council of WA and things like that, and had a lot of say in implementing programs that actually work. But unfortunately, it's not much funding. And it's the other analogy of, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it.
That's exactly it.
And unless people are ready to admit that they have a drug problem, that they want to get help, you're beating your head against a brick wall.
That's it. Yeah. I got to quickly shout out to Argentina. I'm just doing so many shout outs.
Lots of shout outs tonight.
But Argentina, apparently they decriminalized all their drugs like 10 years ago. And instead of treating it as like, you got a drug problem, it's a mental condition or something like that, where it's like they actually treat you not like as if you're psychotic or you're this or you're that, but it's like, okay, if you want to get help, then we're here to help you. Yeah. But if you don't want to get help and you don't see any problem with it, well, then you can do what you're doing, kind of thing. Yeah. Unless someone else, says you're being aggressive and you're being violent, you need help. kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just want to take a
one of
little
those
sidetrack here to just say
Sorry.
hi to all the people that are chatting in the chat right now. We see you, and
we've
thanks
got
for
discussion going.
Yay.
hello
Yeah.
Ben, hello Tim Preston, Edster, Robert Tate, and Xanthi's also in the chat as well. So
Xanthi's so good, so supportive.
Eris Chaplin.
Well, I think we should shine a bit of light on Birdie now.
I think so.
If you want to know.
The amazing artist.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
So,
Intro.
what do you do? How do you get into it?
Okay. Well,
Tell us the cool story about telethon as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I have been a practicing visual artist for the last 6 years. I predominantly work
What does a
in-
visual artist entail?
What is a visual art? I forget this.
You knew I was going to say that, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's easier to show people if you want to take it away.
Yep.
Bitch, take it away.
So it is what it is, like visual art. So anything that is related with visuals, I'm open to trying. And I have, over the last few years, really created a style that people do recognize as a birdie
Just
style.
watch your mic, Roberta.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys
You
heard
can pull it
all
closer
of
if
that.
you need to. Yeah.
It's just so casual here. I forgot that we're on a yep.
Thrown a bit.
That's
Trying
the
to
whole
think.
point.
I'll just repeat the last few bits.
Yeah, go ahead.
Visual art is anything that is related, visually, what you can see. And I have a particular style that I've been working hard on for the past 6 years that it's just like evolved as I've evolved as a person. And yeah, we'll just show you a couple of things. I think start off with that one of me painting the car, just down a little bit.
Here?
That one, yep. So like this is one of my favorite pieces. This was a live painting I created in 3 hours at the Balmoral Hotel, which is a
Balmoral, really? I've
hotel
been there.
that's gotten me back to live paint multiple occasions.
I had no
Yeah.
idea they did that kind of stuff. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
like Troy, the owner, is really great. He's like always puts a lot into art, always pays us really nicely, gives us food, drinks, a good time. But yeah, that sort of gives you an idea of the kind of acrylic stuff that I do. Can you just?
I'm gonna say that's
try to
pretty
think.
cool painting though as well.
I love
just
that.
Pull it back
yeah.
up again, Mitch.
So that like went to a fundraiser and went to a
Oh,
charity.
that's the wrong painting.
So is that supposed to be like a Land Cruiser troopy? Just
yeah,
going in the
just
bush
going,
kind of
just
thing?
driving off. Like
How would you explain your painting style?
That's pretty cool. Though. It's very
I
outback.
think it's
and-
like just hypercolor.
It's hypercolor, like not
Yeah.
neon, but like very colorful.
Hypercolor. I don't tend to stick to what's realistic. I prefer not to.
Yep.
Simply
As all
just,
good artists should.
yeah, like it's about. I've always been really inspired by man-made versus like nature. So that's why this one's kind of like that, I guess, because that's man-made in the middle. Tend to bring that a lot in. Also, I really like changing perspectives on something that seems really boring and ugly, like there's an apartment building one in here. If you go down, yeah, see that one?
This one?
Next one next to it. This is a perfect example. This apartment building was
That's
pretty
cool.
awful and run down. It's like a really not attractive building at all in Subiaco, but for some reason my brain just looks at it as I'm driving past and I can see how much potential it has to. I'm not very good at explaining it. Like it just,
It's like a vibe.
Yeah.
I just like changing things
It's
to
like you're
look
capturing
attractive.
a vibe and then like
Yeah.
qualifying it, beautifying it.
Yeah, so I really had fun. I just like kind of changing perspectives on particular subject matters. I think that's what most artists do in their own way.
But
So
that's still just quickly.
What's
that's,
this?
That's amazing that you can just look at something and go, yeah, no, I can vision that in a different manner, kind of thing.
yeah,
So
hope
you
that
see
makes sense.
outside of the box instead of just going, that's how it is. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
pinks and purples.
I think
and
that's it.
really,
Like
really
I'll
cool.
see something really kind of unattractive, but then I'll be like, man, what if that brown greeny color was bright pink? And then it just sort of goes from
But
there.
that looks amazing. Like, you could hang that
yeah.
up somewhere in Scarborough or like
Yeah,
on a
for
beach
sure.
front or
Well, the
something,
one
like-
next to it, if you go next to it, that's of the Indie Hotel, and I painted that
Oh,
at Florian actually. But
You
I just
painted
love
the Indie Hotel.
the Indie
really?
Hotel is such a vibe out the back. Like I just love how it looks.
Did you show the owner or the manager?
Yeah, they posted it. They reposted it, the Indie Hotel.
I thought they'd be like, no, you got to hang it up. It's
I
amazing.
know they apparently couldn't afford it. I'm like, well, whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're saying.
But it's all good. Is what it is.
That's really
but
cool though.
if you go back, so I'll just say what you were bringing up before about the
This one
brainchild
here. I was
ball.
curious as to
Okay,
what this
so I
photo
put
was
that one
about.
in there. This was so live painting is a big part of what I do, and it's also helped. That's why I don't find it very hard to DJ in front of quite large amounts of people, more increasingly larger, and dancing as well. Like just anything in front of crowds of people, I don't really struggle with. And I think
just
it's
to
because
sidetrack
of
on the whole dancing thing. Your boyfriend is quite the dancer himself.
I'm quite the dancer too, but yeah, he learned. No, we are pretty both like quite into the dancing. Going back to this, so this was probably one of the biggest gigs that I've live painted at, and luckily they're actually getting me back again for a third year.
Yep. I was about to say you don't have tattoos on your legs, but they're just
they're fancy leggings. So the rundown really quickly. I think it was in 2016 was the first one, and it was a telethon ball, and I had a friend ask me to just jump in like pretty much a day before the event, and I'd done like maybe 2 live paintings before that in front of a much smaller crowd, and also was just quite, I don't know, I like picked it up really easily and really enjoyed it. I didn't find myself getting very nervous for some reason, and I think this friend saw that and then put my name forward because the painter for the night was sick and couldn't do it. She said, "Are you able to jump in?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Isn't it surprising how often in the industry that's how it goes?
Yeah, it was like right place, right time, and I ended up painting this painting of like from start to finish, people going into the Astral Ballroom and Crown Casino.
Here's a better photo. Oh wait, no, this would be a better photo of what you painted.
Yeah, so this is a second year, but anyway, it's similar. So I painted the environment around me as everyone was coming in. So the painting evolved through over 5 hours. Yeah, so people enjoyed watching it from start to finish. And what was great is that like this part was nerve-wracking, is I'd have like almost like a cattle auctioneer come in and literally auction my painting,
and he's just like
I can't even imitate it, just like super fast, super fast. And both years the same thing. They're like, oh, we're gonna get like, I can't even imitate it. It's like that bizarre and crazy.
So quick, right?
And yeah, they got it up to $5,000 on the first year, and then the second year was 4.5.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was that was like my first big break, I guess.
And that's for the charity ball.
And yeah, that all went to brain child cancer research.
That's so good though.
That's DJing
I know this. I
mean, sure, like, you know, $5,000 in your pocket would be pretty cool, but it's going
good.
to a good cause though. That's what matters.
And they do still pay me to be there, so it's all good. Like, it's fine. Okay. Yeah.
So that's
for sure, but not $5,000, but that's fine. Goes to a better cause, you know.
You're a full-time artist, so that's your job, you could say, your career.
But that's the thing though, is like now you've sold a painting for $5,000 and $4.5K, and be like, well, that one's worth,
it is
like,
really good.
$3.5. That one's worth $6. Like,
Preston says really nice stuff. He loves the Scarborough one.
Oh yes, so do I. If you go back, I'll quickly show you through some of the other photos.
Have you ever thought about opening like a little mini art studio where you can sell your stuff? Because like, you know, sometimes they're like shopping centers.
Yeah, I've had quite a few exhibitions. Yeah, so yeah, I don't really like galleries very much.
It's just too quiet.
It's just a funny thing. Like I prefer just like actually doing stuff. So this was a live painting that I did, and this was actually a really good gig. So this was done over 2 months, and it was part of a Perth initiative called Thursdays Like We, I can't remember, something like we Thursdays or something. And so it was at the Reveille bar in Elizabeth Quay, and they got me to live paint in front of the patrons of the bar, and then people would come and join in and live paint themselves next to me. And so like there's some photos there if you go back of me actually painting at the see that Elizabeth Quay one there
on the left hand side,
down the bottom. Yeah, that gives you an idea of.
So cool.
So I've painted Elizabeth Quay probably like 5 times now, and the bar ended up keeping that
view and everything.
Yeah,
you have,
it was really nice.
Next to you and like cheese boy, and just like, this is living, Barry.
So I got that. I like ended up working for them doing this for I think like 2 or 3 months, which was cool. And then I just kept getting brought back to paint for other events that they had as well, which was really nice. So it's just like a trickle effect, domino effect, you know, a little bit of movement here.
I think a lot of people don't really think about like the painter as an artist per se anymore. Like, but it's still kicking, still going around. People are live painting, you know.
They do. We do. And I think a lot of people will ask me, you know, why don't you go to Melbourne? What are you doing in Perth? I mean, they're not asking that now.
Don't worry.
You can't go there now.
But yeah, like I don't have this longing to move outside of Perth with my art. I do want to move outside of it, as in get clients elsewhere, but I don't feel the need to move as of yet, because I'm world.
Like, if someone wants something,
exactly.
And
also, like, I've always believed in this kind of a little, not an ideology, but ideology. But it's one of those things where it's like Perth is so small, and so with us being
so big fish in a small pond.
That's it.
That's
but if we stick around, and if we keep sticking around, and we just keep doing our thing, then eventually, you know, we'll be doing what the people, you know, that taught us how to do it, or whatever the scenario is.
Exactly.
You know, we'll be able to actually like move our way up through the ladder and just, you know, do it for the right reasons.
But Perth has produced some amazing artists who come out, you know, like we've had some great music artists, we've had some actors, you know, there's a lot of talent here in Perth, and I think that comes from our isolation. That no one wants to come to Perth. So all the Perth artists really have to raise the bar to be at that almost international standard, because that's what the punters want. They want that international standard. But until we had the new stadium, no one was coming here because there wasn't a venue to house them.
Everything like we lost all of our festivals because we're just so far from absolutely everything. We can't get big acts over here.
Not just that, also logistically, to bring, say, a big show from the eastern states to here, the transportation costs are so much more.
We actually did the last podcast we did, which is technically episode 30, but this is episode 30.
All right, Alex, calm down.
Yeah, you're the one who told me it was episode 30. Supposed to upload it last week, but we didn't. With Jason, his name was?
It's all right. It's coming out this Friday.
This Friday?
This Friday.
It better be. I'm supposed to remind you about it. Mitch.
This Friday, definitely coming out. We interviewed it last week on Wednesday. We interviewed Jaden Rickman.
Yeah.
He's a stage rigger and... So we had a really good podcast with him.
It's so in depth where it's like apparently they had like a festival in Tom Price or something like that, and they had to get like 6 semi-trailers there.
Yeah,
or something.
We're getting off topic though. People can watch this.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's just like the transportation costs and everything is just like it's way too expensive.
I wanted to get into.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get into your DJing, Roberta,
sure.
and because I've obviously known you now for quite a while. Full disclosure, everybody who's listening. You've had a few changes of names, and you've obviously had like that partnership with Xanthi and stuff.
With it all.
Yeah, so you've been DJing for 2 years. What was the thing that clicked in your head? Was like, now I have to DJ.
Or it's something I've always fantasized about since I was really young. It's just one of those things. I've fantasized about it more than getting married and being in a relationship.
Oh, wow.
It's really weird. I don't know. It's like electronic music. I've always loved it, and just the idea of being able to vibe create and community, and something about dancing with people around you just creates this magical electric energy that's addictive. And
it's like that thing, you either get it or you don't.
It's so much fun. It really is. But originally what it was, and then I kind of like grew up and wanted to do other things, and never really thought I could do it. But then met like Xanthi, my really good girlfriend, who, you know, is one of those beautiful females who's happy to share the spotlight and is completely encouraging and excited about everything. It's just the most well-adjusted person I know. And I like showed a little bit of interest, and she pushed me and was like, please learn, you know, and just introduced me to all these people that are now like considered my best friends, and we throw some amazing parties where we've been given the opportunity to really learn how to DJ, and like with amazing equipment, thanks to my friend Ben and as well as Josh, who have been on the show before.
Shout out to Soon Crew.
But a big reason why I wanted to get into DJing was to just to VJ, so like visual DJ, whatever you want to call it.
We should get back on track with that.
Yeah, so, and then Mitch was like trying to get me into it as well, and then I feel like I've just gotten really stuck on the DJing, which is still what I love and probably will.
Well, you've got at least 2 really good people you can go to now for that.
Yeah, and like amazing now going doing this stream during isolation and like seeing that it's still something I do want to do.
Yeah.
And amazing that
Great
Kingsley and
segue, Robbie. Now we can talk about the Pachamama live streams.
We can, that definitely just like brought it all back around to remind me that this was originally one of the main reasons I wanted to DJ, was to understand how it all works so that I can bring my visuals into it as well. But I do find DJing works really well alongside my craft, that is my career. Just keeps me really well balanced in a lot of ways and brings me inspiration and energy to do what I'm doing. Good side thing.
One thing I just wanted to add before we start going back onto that, isn't it just amazing though? It's like how music can bring everyone in together kind of thing. And it's just the culture, the atmosphere.
It's the universal language.
That's it. And it's just like creating memories, like long lasting memories of like a while ago during COVID, it kind of sucked. I had a bit of a breakdown, but it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, getting to go and play somewhere and you see a couple have their first kiss, or, you know, see someone dance with a girl and it's like they come back the week after and it's like they're dating now or this or that. And it's just like creating long lasting atmospheric.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's amazing with what music can really do.
Yeah.
Well, it was like on Sunday I went to Movement, which is my favorite club event. Just so happy that it's come back. And I go there predominantly for the community that it holds. We call it church. And it honestly feels that way. Like it's like a church that you go to. You pray. You're there to be with your congregation and your fellowship.
The gods
and
of
just
techno
at
and
one
house.
point I like just stood in the middle of the dance floor, stood still just so I could feel the vibrations and all the people around me. And it was just like, something about having people's body and everyone moving, and just everyone is moving in their own way. It's like just complete freedom. It's incredibly healthy, when we're allowed to do it. Yeah.
I feel like everyone feels that moment. I feel that moment too. And what I love about those smaller clubs like Nevermind and the crews behind, for example, Patchamama, although I've never been to Patchamama before, I do go to raves and stuff like that occasionally. So it's the sense of community that I think is the most important part.
That's what I go for.
100% sense of community.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to make sure everyone just feels welcome and happy, right?
And I think music is the one thing that brings everybody together.
Yeah, definitely.
It's that we're all coming together from different backgrounds, from different communities, different social structure, but we're all there to celebrate that one thing, and it's the love of dance and the love of music.
That's right.
On that, like I do personally feel the most comfortable in the electronic scene. I just find the people that it attracts are really friendly and just like always down to party and full of smiles. Yeah, that's just been my experience. It's probably a big part of why I get attracted to it as well. And
but that's
a bit
what
of an
makes
older
it, right?
crowd as well. You can find if you're going for like actual house music and drum and bass and that sort of genre rather than poppy EDM.
Yeah.
I find
Another shout out to the chat. Girl London's just dropped in.
Yay!
Hello.
Hi, Girl London.
We see you. Thanks for dropping in and leaving some comments.
That's it.
And Tim Preston says, "Love the techno gods." Valhalla.
Techno is great too, of course.
So,
all right, shall we start talking about the live streams? I think the Patchamama live streams.
I was gonna say, so like, how did you get into the live streams, Nicky? Like,
so live streams I sort of fell into it by mistake in a sense. So my first exposure to what entails a live stream was one of our DJs, MZ Lopez, Natalia. She was working for a local music studio college here in Perth, and they were looking to promote themselves as a college, and so they were doing live streams from their studios, and they were looking for more DJs. So our DJs contacted me and said, look, some of the Pachamama DJs want to come and live stream for these guys. So I went down and met them and, did the talk and thought, this place seems cool, great setup, really professional, awesome, top of the range equipment. Thought the girls are going to love this. So I organised for a few of the girls to stream, and credit to it, the streaming was really professional. Yeah. But for me, I kept looking at it thinking, this is really bloody boring to watch. Like, they've got this top-notch equipment, state-of-the-art, brand new CD2000 CDJ Nexus, the real fruit, like tens of thousands of dollars.
Full club setup,
Yeah, and then in their recording studio, they've got a beautiful professional recording studio. They've got the lights, everything. But to watch it, it's really boring. And I kept saying to him, can you add in some visuals? And brought Kingsley and we brought Kingsley down, and they weren't. They just wanted to do this really boring studio format.
So you were like, that's it, we're doing our own.
Well, no, it wasn't until that. I hadn't really thought much about streaming other than the fact that I thought it was really boring.
Right.
Yeah. And then COVID happened and we had to cancel our appointments, and we were all a bit like, well, what are we going to do now? You know, we can't have events. The DJs can't play. I've got no music to dance to. It was driving me like, we were all like driving us all crazy to do something.
Yeah.
And then the moment we could have like a few people over at my house, I'm like,
like,
then one of the girls and then a few of the other sort of Perth crews started doing some streaming, and I was watching their streams thinking, oh yeah. And then credit to Bass Fiend, she's like, let's do a stream, we'll do it at my place. She lives with some guys who have used to have a photography business, so they already had a green screen and the lights and the cameras, so we're like, right, first one, we'll do it from your house because you've got the gear. And then I saw the setup and I thought, gee, it's not really that complex, is it?
It's just like a few cameras.
and then credit to Rochelle and her crew, they did an amazing job. And then I came back to Kingsley, our lighting guy, going, Kingsley, we've got to do something with these visuals. Like, we've got all these visuals. You are the visual god.
Kingsley Halcyon?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's been working with us right from the inception. He's from the old Electrified days as well. And so he's been a VJ and lighting guy in Perth, I think, for about 20 years.
Oh, shit.
And it's funny.
I would love to pick his brain.
Oh,
Yeah,
he is.
thing.
And honestly, there's lots of people that do VJ and visuals and visual mapping. But what Kingsley does is so much above everybody else. And I'd say he's only just under Taz.
Yep.
All right. He's doing what Taz does here in Perth. And fair enough, he doesn't quite have the programming levels of the visuals, because Taz is like the visual god. But what Kingsley's putting together for us is just absolutely incredible. So I kept challenging him, going, okay, I want to do a green screen. And he's like, oh, Nick, that's really hard.
This feels like me and Alex's relationship.
And so the boredom in me during COVID, and I had no work and I was bored and I wanted to do something, and I'm like, how hard can it be to do a green screen? So I get on YouTube and I'm like, okay, how do you do a green screen? And I taught myself over YouTube, and then I started hassling hubby, and I was about ready to buy like the green screen set up on eBay and spend like a couple of $100, and hubby's like, hang on, I think we can do this without you buying anything. So we got out the work light spotlights and got out the Oz Trail gazebo wall, which was lime green. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
So we had
we already had it all. And I'll be honest with you, you guys have seen some of my video footage. It's cost me less than $100.
That's amazing.
To set up.
Speaking of, why don't I play this video I've got up, and you can see some of the visuals.
Yeah.
This is actually some of Birdie's artwork that Halcyon has taken and manipulated behind the stream.
So
put it into his
retro-y
programs.
kind of like neon
Yeah.
colours.
Really
So
cool.
cool.
Let's turn that off.
Yeah, and for Halcyon, it was really
Just getting into the groove.
he was really excited and really happy to do it, because it was a real challenge for him to do something different, and then to be able to have that opportunity for Birdie to be able to bring her music, Halcyon do her visuals. It makes all what we do worthwhile.
Definitely.
That it's a team effort, and it was a dream come true for Birdie. It was something really artistic for Halcyon to put together, and he found it really challenging for him in a good way. And for me, it was like, this is what I envisioned. This is what I wanted. You guys have been great. Birdie's artwork, Halcyon's tech behind the scenes, and it all has just made it worthwhile. So when I learned and taught myself how to do a green screen, I sent a little homemade video of my hubby to him and went, right, that's it. We're doing green screen from there on. And so we've just manifested and grown, and each time what we do it, we're learning things to do it better. Like my last stream that we did, you guys know what it's like when you're doing streaming and you're watching all your levels, and I kept seeing this little box in the screen that I just couldn't get rid of, and I'd changed the cameras, and it was the Oz Trail logo on the green screen. That was just a little peek of it, and it annoyed me. And in the end, I'm on the floor with green sticky tape under the DJs trying to sticky tape this logo. So we're learning new things, but I'm really loving the artistic aspect of our live streams. It's giving the DJs a platform to keep their skills up.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think a lot of DJs, like DJ specific streams, they fall into the trap of focusing more on the audio and then not thinking about the visual side of it. It is audio visual. So
sometimes they don't focus on the audio properly, and it's just recorded off like a phone or something.
And that's not knocking.
Turns people off the live stream.
You know what? I will say a lot of Perth DJs have done a decent job. You've got like Endorse. Endorse's stream is really good.
Endorse is good.
Protocols ones.
Yeah. I know Grizzly streams as well. We've had him on as
Grizzlies,
well. Yeah. Who else do we know that streams?
Look, there's lots of lots of people in
Brooke Triplet. She's been on the podcast.
Yeah, her streams are okay, but it's still the same thing. And this is not knocking anyone else's streams, but for me, if I'm going to log into someone's live streams, just to see the DJ standing there DJing, looking down at the decks, is really not engaging to watch. Still engaging to listen to. The music's still great. But if you're going to do a live stream, I think you need to... I think a lot of the DJs forget to look at the camera to engage with their crowd, because the crowd's not dancing in front of them. They forget that they've got this audience in front of them.
I understand it though, because like a lot of DJs, this is the first time in front of the camera. It's very easy to forget. Like you've got no one in front of you because usually you're DJing to a crowd, right? So the energy's there, and
you're picking up off those people.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one thing that we found was that we've had some DJs who have streamed for us. And these girls are great DJs. They've played at Rainbow Serpent in front of 10 or 20,000 people. Get them in front of a live stream, and all of a sudden they're like...
Yeah, they freeze up.
They freeze up because all of a sudden they're on camera. They've never actually had to be on camera. So we had a few hurdles of how do we make it so that it's more comfortable for the girls and for our performers and live streaming. So one thing we did was we actually put a mirror at the back of the room so that when the girls are DJing, they need to look up at the mirror so they
That's
can
a handy
see.
tip right there.
That's
and then
a bad idea.
And that has worked fantastic. And then the other thing that we did, like you guys, is just to have a TV that's showing the stream. So that the girls, even though you've got that 20 or 25 second lag, they can look up and go, oh yeah, everything's still looking great, or my hair's not quite right. It's been great. I've enjoyed the challenge of creating the stream. All the new skills that I've learned as an older woman who's not really tech savvy.
It's pretty impressive that you managed to green screen.
I mean,
under
now you can
$100.
take all those skills that you've learned streaming and incorporate it into your actual like Pachamama events.
That's exactly
it.
it.
People who can make it can come.
So one of the things that Kings, that Halcyon and I and the team are talking about is when we start doing proper events in licensed venues, we actually want to always stream our events.
Really?
Yep.
Great idea.
So, so that's something that we are looking forward to doing in the future.
We might want to talk to you after this.
So some of the challenges when I've been looking at venues and asking them is, how good is your internet on site?
Right.
And they don't. And they can't. They're like, oh, we've got a mobile. And I'm like, I don't really want to be using your mobile Wi-Fi to be doing my streaming. I really need a wide-in modem that I can plug all our equipment in. So we haven't quite gone through all the technical aspects of how to make that work. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge that Halcyon and I and the team will have, taking our streaming to that next level.
I think it's coming, like inevitably lots of like venues and bars and all that stuff and festivals of stuff have seen the emergence of streaming.
So much more exposure,
and I think it's going to be more of a thing
really
at events.
I think the only thing that concerns me is some of the attendees at these places may not want to be on camera. So there would have to be that, like when you go to a festival now, that they have a big sign up going, when you enter this festival, you may be videoed, you may be photographed. So we'll need to go through all those legalities of those things.
Yeah, we've actually looked into a little bit of legalities of stuff like that, where it's like, you just need a stamp, or you just need a sign out the front just saying that, the material used within this venue might be used for marketing purposes or something like that.
Yeah. So, and, still got a few tech things to go through. Like, there's lots of different platforms we can stream on. And I still haven't found the platform yet.
Mixcloud.
Well,
It's been good.
Well, you say
Mixcloud has been
Mixcloud,
good.
but
But
to
it's not
upload the
that good at the
videos,
moment,
you can only upload a small video. I can't
Yeah.
upload a 1 hour video unless I
that
compress.
feature is coming though. They haven't got around to it
Yeah,
yet.
unless I compress the files, and then you lose the quality.
For
That's
the stream
exactly it.
itself, it was really good on the night, like the live stream. 'cause
Oh,
we had
look,
up to 400
we
viewers at
more,
one point.
more.
Mix-
So,
on
so,
Mixcloud.
On
so
Mixcloud.
Wow,
we were
okay.
We didn't have that
streaming.
with
Our
anything
first
else.
three
That's
streams
really
were on
good.
Twitch, and we were getting an average of 20 to 30 viewers when we swapped over to Mixcloud.
And they were cutting us off as well.
Yeah, they were cutting us
Yeah.
off. They were muting the music.
Well, when you look at it as the Mixcloud is a platform for music
Yeah.
and DJing and stuff like that.
Mixcloud, we got 535 viewers.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's amazing.
Really
So, you know, like to go from 30 viewers to 500 in one stream.
Because we've been trying to push Mixcloud a bit because it's run by like it's like a local team kind of thing. It's in England and it's a small little company, but
Yeah.
with that, like,
It's similar to like what SoundCloud used to be.
yeah,
but I mean,
they're competing against the
Yeah.
big dogs.
Mixcloud will be good. I just don't think it's quite ready yet. We've done a
Yeah.
few tests on the
Yeah.
platform, but it's
Yeah,
just
and
not.
we're
It's a bit
and we
glitchy,
held
but
off
it's still
initially
quite
when Mixcloud first launched their live stream. I had a few of my male DJ friends go, swap over to Mixcloud, don't even bother with Twitch. And I always trust Halcyon's judgment because he's far more tech savvy than I am. And he's like, Nick, they've got a few glitches. Just hold off for a few more weeks.
That's it, yeah.
Let them smooth it out, and then we'll jump on board. And I started watching a few other people that were streaming through Mixcloud. I thought, right, they seem to have nutted out those glitches. Let's give it a go. And I've been really happy with it.
See,
so
I just can't wait. Fingers crossed it's sometime soon. But the idea of like live streaming mixes straight onto that, because one thing is I record all my DJ sets,
Yep.
so my Mixcloud is actually like my online resume in a way.
Yeah.
That's what I do like
think that's
about
for
it.
most
The
DJs.
fact that I don't have to pay for it and I can have my entire stream.
That's exactly.
And then I had
it.
a friend of mine was playing just one of my sets, and he said that the whole day he ended up listening. It just kept going to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and then the whole day he just had all my music playing. I was
Yeah.
like, that's so great that can actually happen.
Exactly right.
Without
I've
people
had that,
trying. Yeah.
I've had that happen at an op shop in Fremantle, where
pretty
a friend
cool.
has actually just put my mixes on in an
Yeah.
op shop, and it's just like people are being like, "Oh, the music's good today." And she messages me
Yeah.
like, "Holy shit, that's cool!"
And you don't have to pay for it. It's really
That's
good.
it.
Whereas SoundCloud, you have to pay like $20 a month now.
Yeah.
And
You have
I'm
to pay
still
for
in.
I'm paying for Mixcloud for
Oh,
our
but
Mixcloud.
not to like have your recordings on there. I mean,
Nah, like
no,
the
but
pro
for the live
mode,
streaming.
the live
Yeah.
streams,
I'm
yeah,
doing the
you
same.
do.
It's like that's where the silly part with Mixcloud is. Unfortunately, it's like you've got a live streaming account, professional
Yeah,
account,
yeah.
and you got Mixcloud Pro, and Mixcloud Pro just takes the adverts out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then whilst the live one is just live stream, and
Yeah.
it's like 20 and 20. So it's like $40 all up. It's not.
Yeah.
I think it's 20 and 20, but it's expensive.
15,
You know what?
15 for the live.
Yeah,
15 USD or 8?
$15 Australian per month
that's
on
not
Mixcloud
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
for the live streaming.
I just
I
let it
would
take out
pay
my
that.
account and just look the other way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's coming out.
I think it's okay to pay, and like we don't get cut off.
Well,
so
that's it. I mean,
It
like,
would just be
let's
nice if they let us upload it. That's all.
let's be honest.
It's coming, yeah.
The
yeah,
artists
good to
who
know.
create the music need to be paid as well.
Yeah.
Like,
So hopefully that somehow works.
yeah, I
out.
think
Yeah.
that's what happens with Mixcloud is that subscription fee that we pay covers some of the royalties and the licensing fees in order to play the music.
Yeah, I mean,
Which I think we need to go down that line.
that's where it's a bit scary for Mixcloud as well, because there is a monetization button where you can monetize your account now, but then they'll go through everything, and then it's like, I think it will be like, because I uploaded a mix the other day where it was only 10 minutes, but it was like the last, because it was a 6-hour mix, and my mix is only split at every 3 hours 18 minutes. I don't know why, but it's like there was 10 minutes and I uploaded that, and then I just got like an email, a notification, and then a notification on Mixcloud saying that we've taken this mix down because you played 2 Drake songs or something whack. It was something like 2 hip hop songs, but it's because of their radio license, where
Yeah.
it's like you can't play the same music in a row or in a short period of time. It has to be over like a broad
Yeah, okay.
thing, kind of thing.
I mean,
Interesting.
you guys aren't probably playing a lot of popular music anyway, so
Yeah.
No,
But
I
it
mean,
still
you guys
can
are
get
kind of in the
removed.
grey
I'm a
zone.
pop
Yeah.
DJ.
yeah, but on saying that, we do have some DJs that remix commercial pop music to different beats. So then the algorithms are picking it up.
That's it, yeah.
So they're
And
not
it's so
necessarily.
hard to avoid that sometimes.
It is, and I mean a lot depends on what genre. You know, we've got DJs like Hyper Pussy who is just the queen at remixing old stuff into new. And when I tried to upload her videos onto YouTube, every single song, they were just like, yeah, nah. And same with Roberta's.
Mine didn't work at all.
Yeah, yours didn't work as well.
Nice.
So I'm finding it challenging as a live stream host as to which platform is the best for us to use. And I still, Mixcloud is great. But the fact that I can't upload a full 1 hour video yet is just like, what? So now I've got to cut Bertie's set into 2.
That's it, yeah.
You know, or compress the file so that then you lose the quality. I'm going to play around with the next stream with how I record to see if I can record the stream at a lower
resolution.
Not necessarily just such much the lower resolution, but a smaller file. I'm going to start playing with some settings, and it's always a learning curve.
I don't mind coming around and helping you out if you want.
Yeah, Mitch is really good. He'd be a good addition to all that.
Inflate my ego more. Let's do it.
And like, let's be
Ego,
honest,
Mitch?
what gentleman doesn't want to come and hang out with a house full of
I
girls?
have an ego.
He's helped me out a lot for sure.
I just like
All
to
the
play
techie
around with
stuff.
tech stuff.
And you're a video
videographer.
videographer.
Well, not anymore. Technically a video
That
editor,
has all
but
the training.
Yeah.
I'm just still baffled that Mitch has admitted he's got an ego.
Everyone
I admit that all the time,
does.
guys.
do you now? Well, yeah. All right. So
I'll play that movie with all the live streams because that
The
shows way
Pachamama one?
more.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
one was okay, but these ones are good
'Cause
they
it
show
shows-
everything.
It showcases a little bit of Kingsley's, of Halcyon's visuals.
This
and
was cool. It looks like we're in a spaceship.
yeah, like an X-wing or something like
No,
that.
it's a Star Wars. It's a
Yeah.
Star Wars fighter, that one.
Yeah, the X-wing
So that's
fighter, right?
you,
With
Robbie,
Arthur?
and DJ Hyperpussy?
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yep.
And
Awesome
so we
shirt,
were
by the
playing.
way.
This was pretty fun. Like this was the end of the night, and we just decided to just do a back
And
to
the
back.
girls didn't know I was recording it.
But we had two. That's my mixer, and then we had hers going as well.
Yep.
So
and, like, she
who's
connected
that
That's
as well?
she's a
PhD
brand
in
new DJ
Yeah,
and the scene,
PhDNB.
PhDNB. She's only been DJing for a few months, but is really starting to make waves in the Perth drum and bass scene.
That's
Really?
cool.
She's really good. She's just
Has she met any of the drum and bass girls yet?
Yeah,
The
she
girl
has.
Like,
She's
Emily Richardson.
Yep,
Shout out,
she's
by the way.
yep. Shout out to Em. She put on a really good event last weekend that was
Yeah.
really successful to us. So shout
That
out
was
to
an
her.
amplifier as well, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I think she had it at the Rosemount.
Oh, yeah. It might have been the Rosemount. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a drum and bass, but it was all female drum and bass artists, and she really did the scene proud. She had a
Yeah.
great lineup.
No, that's really good. She's doing it for the right cause. And
So this is
everything.
DJ Booty Beats. She's just amazing. Every one of our girls that DJ with us are just so unique in their own style. I'm so proud of the diversity of female
that's for sure.
DJs that we have here in Perth.
Yeah, I was quite taken aback at like the diversity that you guys have.
And
going
Bronnie,
here.
Bronnie's like in her 60s.
Yeah.
We pulled her
we were
out of
asking about that
too.
earlier.
we
We're
pulled her
like,
out of her retirement to come and play for us. So
Yeah.
Bronnie hadn't DJ'd for nearly 10 years. And when
She's
I
very
put Pachamama
I'm
together,
so sorry, Bronnie, that we stopped on this image.
but when we put Patchamama together, I asked her to come back out of retirement and DJ, and it was funny. She played at Into the Womb, and Jeremy, who owns the Serenity Sound System, was so impressed with her set that she played the Sunrise set,
Right.
that he booked her there and then for his gigs.
Really?
So she's been pulled back out of retirement. She's very selective with who she plays because she works as a
nurse
full-time
as
nurse,
well, yeah.
and she's a bit of a rocket scientist with her nursing.
So what type
Girl
of
London is just amazing.
We've got her in the
What?
chat
She's-
right now.
what
She's
genres
very,
as well?
very
though?
good.
So, like-
Progressive.
So
is
yeah,
mostly.
she plays progressive house, techno,
Melodic
Middle
techno.
Eastern tech house.
Middle
I-
Eastern tech.
I
This woman
love
is
her
next
Middle
level
Eastern
amazing.
tech
That
house.
sounds
I'm such a
amazing.
fan.
honestly.
She takes you on when when
Really
Girl
good.
London plays. She takes you on this worldly journey of
You
music.
don't hear
That's
any
what
of
you
the
want, though.
transitions at all.
No,
You're like,
she's
next
super
minute, I'm just, like,
professional.
losing
Her
my
transitions
brains
are
with
smooth.
this. So good.
So we don't. within Pachamama, we don't just have one style of genre.
Yeah, it's all
most of our
different.
girls play predominantly tech house or house, but we've got drum and bass, we've got bass house, we've got old school. You've got people like Okie Dokie who plays like the old school hardcore.
Yeah.
Really?
And she's just released a track called Tiger King. Oh my God. Incredible.
Of course.
Shout out to
Check it
Okie
out, Tiger
Dokie.
King by who was it again?
Okie Dokie.
Does it
Okie dokie.
sample Tiger King as well?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And it's just one of those tracks that the more I play it, it's not a genre that I would normally listen to, but she's got it right on the money.
Yeah,
And
hardcore is a bit like sometimes.
Oh, but it's just such a danceable track. And as a DJ, Okie Dokie is so professional. Her transitions are smooth. I can't
And
shout
she
out
has
to
a
her.
sick name.
Oh, and she's
Okie
just
dokie.
everything
That's
about her
amazing.
is professional. Her mixes are right on. She always gets the sound system sounding schmick, and that comes from years and years and years of experience. From a promoter point of view, she's extremely professional to deal with. Like, I just find her an absolute pleasure. Sometimes her genre of music, I find it a bit hard where to put her because it's very unique.
Yeah.
But I love her. She's awesome. So yeah, listen to the Tiger King. It's on SoundCloud.
But it's good that you've got like a little collective, like, you know,
Yeah.
artists that work for you in a way. Because, well, not work for you, but like come and play the events kind of thing. Because then it's like with hardcore, it's like, okay, so it's pumping now. The crowd's absolutely going off their nut. Quickly get in there. Like,
Yeah.
quickly get in there and just make them go absolutely
Oh,
off their
she
shit.
does. She does. And my daughter's like, oh, that's stomping music. You know, you just got to stomp to
Stomping music, yeah.
it. But no, we have such a diverse range, and our DJs range from 21 to 62.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
also
cool as well.
experience as well. Like Hyper Pussy she was a resident DJ, or still is, at Connections, and has worked at like so
The
many
tiki
different
bars
bars and
and-
clubs, and has so much sound knowledge as well.
Because that's where
I found her really
I've-
cool to work with.
I've met Ameline
Yeah.
before at the Flying Scotsman.
Yes,
She used to play
a lot of
upstairs
people
and
know
stuff.
her.
And then she got a gig at the Queen's Hotel for a while as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then she just played
yeah.
around the place.
You know, and then you've
Yeah.
got people like Bronny and Girl London that, you know,
Right. Yeah,
have both
also
had
really
more than
experienced.
10 years experience. And it's lovely that these more experienced DJs mentor people like Birdie and Stitches. And
Yeah, it's great networking for us. We can
yeah.
learn so much off those women, for sure.
And that's what it's all about, really. And I think that's one thing I've loved about Patchamama is we're managing to find these new artists and
Shop,
these
the bass fiend.
new DJs
Yeah.
and giving them a platform to really hone their skills. And
Yeah.
it's been great to watch them grow. We've had a few DJs that have started their very first set that they've ever played with us, and then they've gone and hit the big time and they've played overseas. And
Yeah, well, on that note, what Nicky has done for us is amazing, just from the fact that now we have like a resume piece in a way,
That's it.
you know, that we can just send to promoters. Also, the fact that straight away she'll send us a separated MP3 that I've been able to just really quickly from my iPad was just able to put it on my Mixcloud and my SoundCloud and share it on all my social medias. Like, just huge. Absolutely, we can't be thankful enough. It's really good.
That's why, like, when we started talking about this, I was just like, wow, like, this is amazing. Because back in the day,
Helps
about
everyone.
4 years ago at the Flying Scotsman, I actually used to run an event down there called Residence.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of Residence was like a midweek Wednesday night where anyone could have a set. If
Yeah.
you wanted a gig, just message me and I'll put you on. And the whole reason is because then they could come along, they could play their 1 hour set, we take photos, we get a video of them or whatever. And then that
Kinda
way,
cool.
straight after,
Yeah.
they've got a resume.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
one of those
that's
guys that
cool.
actually played for me, he went off and played Amber, and then he went over and went to England or something like that. And it seems like, oh, I gave him his first gig. That's amazing, kind of thing. It's it's so cool seeing, like, you know, them grow up in a way.
And I think that's the one thing that I've loved the most with Patchamama is I get to watch artists like Birdie, who I met 18 months ago.
yeah,
And
already done
she's
in that
played
time.
for us now a few times, that
Yeah.
each time she performs with us, I see her performance and her artistic skills get better. And for me, as someone, you know, I don't make any money out of Patchamama. It's predominantly a love thing. But what I get back in return is the joy of seeing these girls grow.
and that's what matters, really.
And
So
to me, that's
nice.
what it's all about. And this is not knocking any of the guys, but there's so much support out there for male artists in the electronic dance music scene.
yeah,
I don't see that there's as much support for the girls, and I don't know whether that's more because the promoters aren't aware of how many female DJs there actually are in Perth. Like we went to the Store DJ put on a female DJ networking night. Do you know we had 88 female DJs rock up that night?
No shit.
Wow. 88 female
Holy
DJs.
shit.
That's only scraping the surface of some of the DJs here in Perth.
88 rocking up.
Just rocking up to one store on a Thursday night. And there were a lot of our girls who have played for us that didn't go that night. So there's a huge amount of talent here in Perth that I just feel is not getting tapped into. And it's because I think more that the people who are organising the events, unless you're really in the scene,
well, you have to look a certain way.
Yeah,
and you have to be able to bring the crowd. So it's like it's all this popularity game, which is all part of it. And but we don't feel the pressure to do that.
It's all about making money for these sorts of events.
Unfortunately,
this is not about that. So it's really great.
Been saying to the girls is you don't need to over-sexualise yourself to sell yourself as an artist. If you want to dress sexy on stage, that's great, but it's not necessary. You know, wear something funky on stage, but you don't have to be on stage in just a bra and a pair of undies.
That's exactly.
And a fishnet stockings and high heel boots to sell yourself as an artist.
Honestly, like I feel like some places like Ibiza really paint the picture wrong there. Like I've seen so many videos where it's just like they're literally paying girls where their DJ decks aren't even turned on, but they're in a bikini kind of thing, and they're looking extremely sexy, and they're taking photos of themselves.
That's an example.
We've talked about that so many times. Paris Hilton went and played in Ibiza, right? She played a
Here we go, Paris Hilton.
Yeah, here we go again. 1.5 hour set, $80,000 American. And it's because she's the Hilton. That's the only reason why. But do you know what she does? She plays a pre-recorded set, presses play, gets a foam cannon and gets on the microphone, just sprays the crowd with foam. People go because it's her. It's like, you know, DJ Paulie D.
But on saying that, I have been to festivals where Carl Cox has got up and just pressed play on his laptop too. So
it happens.
It does happen.
But, you know, I really want to get away from promoting the girls as sexual identities.
That's exactly it.
You know,
it's not right.
And that's not to say that some of the girls who DJ with us aren't attractive. They're all really attractive girls. But let's break away from having to over-sexualise yourself as a performer.
And get seen for the skill of it.
Because guys aren't up in a pair of leather hot pants, in boots, shirtless on stage.
And a lot of guy DJs are not that amazing to look at either, which
heard it first here.
But like,
I mean, I just like going.
I'm sorry, I can't be prettier for you.
It's never.
But
you're so beautiful.
I just like my flamboyant
It's never a problem
shirts.
though for them.
But music shouldn't be about the look. It should always be about the music.
That's
and I do,
the atmosphere.
And I do understand that to be an artist, you do have to promote yourself, and that you do have to have some form of image.
A good friend of mine just quickly has always said to me where it's like being a DJ isn't just being a DJ anymore. It's being a graphic designer, a video editor, a social media marketing guru, basically, and having an online presence, making a website, like the whole
Shout
thing.
out to Brooke Triplett, because she has marketed herself fantastic.
So well.
She's a really good example of that.
Shout out Brooke.
Her DJ skills have got better and better and better, but when she first started out, she wasn't that great, but she was really good at marketing herself. And she's becoming a really fantastic DJ.
She's got a lot of good, solid people around her, I feel, too.
Yeah, and her tune selection is really good as well. And she's
really pushing that movement of, like, you know, the not so much psytrance, but it's just like the music she's playing is just like she's really trying to.
But I've seen Brooke play quite a few different genres, and she played a New Year's Eve gig just gone, and she had 1,500 people on the dance floor pumping.
Whereabouts was that? Was that Ice Cream Factory?
No, that was out in the bush.
Oh, the bush.
But she played an awesome set, and credit to her, she knocked it. Really smashed it out that night. It was the best. It was one of the best sets. One of the best sets I've ever seen you play, Brooke. So well done, girl.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, women can multitask.
Yeah,
People need to remember that. So we actually make really good DJs. We can do anything.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't that? Like Well, okay, no, I don't even know what I was going to say.
Oh, you don't know what you're going to say?
No,
well, I was going to
bitch about like how slow the XCJs are at loading tracks and stuff.
Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know.
We can't comment on this.
In a DJ anger, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Goddamn controllers.
But you know, for me, I would really love to see more female artists represented on DJ lineups, and not just here. Like I'm on an international female DJ page, and it's happening in Germany. It's happening in UK. All festivals, all events have a predominantly 90% male DJ lineup.
It's good that you've got people like Nina Las Vegas and Charlotte DeWitt really like pushing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's helping out the scene. It's not just making it, just, as you said, like it is basically male predominant kind of thing.
There are some promoters that are like the Habitat crew, got a really great female lineup coming up for their garden party coming up.
I've been told they're amazing, honestly.
They're so much fun. I'm very excited for that.
And the same with the Inhibit crew as well. You know, they try and have some really good female artists.
Shout out to Andy Carpenters quickly. He's an amazing guy. And Sam Fletch.
So for me, as someone who is supporting the DJs who collaborate with me, I would really love to see more of our girls and any female artists on more DJ lineups. I think that the girls can play just as good as the boys.
Well, that's it, right?
And,
it's not a gender thing at all.
It's not a gender thing.
It's like, can you DJ?
And I think
dance. And girls tend to dance a lot.
And I think
that's exactly it as well.
That if you have more females on stage, you might have more females going to the venue.
That's
it.
Exactly.
So true.
See, one thing I've always stuck by, a good friend of mine has always said it to me. It's like, you keep the girls happy and the boys will follow. And it's just like, if the girls are dancing, having a great time, the guys will go eventually, you know.
Yeah.
But you might get the dickheads, you might get this, or you might get that. But as long as the girls are happy, that's what kind of matters, because they're, you know, the guys will just go along anyway, in a way. But I was going to ask, because now we've been talking about all this, we were going to talk about safe places in Perth and stuff like that, and it's like, I mean, you know, there are places like, you know, say Northridge, where it can be, you know, you can run into trouble sometimes and stuff like that. But would you say there are any specific places that, you know, girls can go out and anyone can go out and feel really safe in a way?
Well, for me, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, I personally haven't had many bad experiences in Northbridge. Like, that's just me alone. Like when I was first 18 and grew up in Midland, and like having to go the train line, and it was such a endeavor to get to the city, but I still did it. That was definitely around that time. It wasn't that great, but I was going to particular clubs that I would never go to now. But yeah, the only club that I really do make an effort to go to often is Nevermind, and I do feel really safe there majority of the time. But I mean, I don't get really wasted when I do go, but when I go, I have got a lot of people that know me, because it is a smaller community as well. I always get a lot of happy faces, conversations. It's honestly about the music that they play.
It sounds like such a good collective.
It is really good.
Honestly.
Yeah, so I definitely could vouch for that place, at least on the Sundays for sure.
What about you, Nicky? Do you have any places you like?
For me, I don't go out clubbing that much anymore. It's sort of lost its appeal, and I must admit, over the last 12 months, the last half a dozen times I've been clubbing, I've been really harassed. And I've even gone up to security and gone, that guy there is really harassing me. Can you please get him? And the security just get him to move to a different area of the club, and 5 minutes later he's back harassing me.
That's exactly it.
But in the underground music scene, Pachamama Gatherings created a bit of a movement about 2 years ago, because we found that out at the doofs scenes, it was starting to become a little unsafe for women. So as a whole community, and it's not just us, it was a collaboration of all the promoters that are putting it on events out there, recognised that they needed to act on something. So what we started doing was publicly advertising on their event pages what to do if you actually get harassed.
Oh, really?
Because the girls were going to these events, and some of them, unfortunately, might have got assaulted, but they weren't actually going up to the organisers and letting the organisers know.
Well, I've just come back from the UK recently, and in pretty much every bar or nightclub, and as you walk in, there's a name that they have on the, and you can go up to the bar at any time, and you say, I'm looking for this person, and then the bar people immediately know that you want to be removed, or something's going wrong, and they'll sort that out for you without having to have the whole big song and dance.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
A mate of mine, Liam, who is supposed to be opening a bar soon, we're going to implement it in the bar. Apparently, he came up with this. He didn't come up with the idea, but it's something that's been going around for like last 5-10 years or something. Where it's like, I think it's called the Bluebird cocktail or something like that. Where it's like, if you go to the bar and you ask for like, it's an angel shot. So if you go to the bar and you say, okay, I want an angel shot without salt, right? Then it's like I'm not in trouble, but there's someone that's around that's kind of bothering me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, secret words that it just doesn't alert that there's some, not a predator, but, you know, there's some dickhead not leaving you alone.
There's lots of safe words in a lot of venues, and you'll find that in the female toilets, they'll actually have a poster saying,
we see that a lot.
if you're being harassed, these are procedures. But in an underground rave scene, there's not that implemented. So what we started saying to the girls and putting on the event pages is, if you get harassed, please go to the gate, go to the door, go to the DJs. There is protocol in place. And a lot of the girls weren't aware of actually who to report inappropriate behaviour.
It's good that you said go to the DJ as well, because like I said before we went live, it's like one of those things where the DJ really oversees almost everything. It's like, you know, if a fight breaks out, usually they're the first ones to turn the music down, be like, oi, sort that out, or security get involved. But it's like if someone comes up to you and it's like, you know, I'm not feeling safe because of that guy, well, then you can be like, okay, I'm going to keep my eyes on him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Way,
so,
right?
so how we created a safety network out in the underground doof scene was, first of all, to create a list of protocols for the girls to go through. If they were getting harassed and they didn't know who the organisers were, go to the gate, because the gate are always going to know who the staff are, or you go to the DJ booth. Then what we also created was a bit of a safety network within the girls, and which is why we started up Patchamama, because a lot of girls were going to events, whether it be in a club setting, a festival setting, or an underground rave, and they were recognising girls each week going to the, but not having the confidence to go up and go, oh, hi, I see you here every week, but I don't know your name. So that's why we started Patchamama, to have these smaller events so the girls can get to meet each other in a daytime where it's sunlight and they get to recognise faces and not necessarily drinking as much as what they would. Community building. And then with that, when they went out, there wasn't just with their little posse of 2 or 3 girls. All of a sudden they knew 50 girls.
That's it, right?
And then what we started to find was, if one of the girls was getting harassed on the dance floor, all of the girls surrounded her and then looked at that one guy as if go,
get away.
Off you go. But with that created this beautiful ripple effect that then the boys started noticing and taking responsibility. So if they saw one of their mates, female friends now, whether that be a partner, a friend, a sister, just a mate, they'd go out and go, hey brother, she's really not interested. 5 steps back, hey? Back at the dance floor. And so we cleaned up the scene. It took about six months to a year of a whole community effort. It wasn't just Patchamama. It was everybody making an effort. And it's really cleaned it up. And with that, we had more girls coming to the events because they felt safe, that they knew that there were...
How big is your community now, Patchamama?
Oh, we have about nearly 800 people on our page.
Oh, wow, that's
and our community, whilst there's lots of people on our page, we probably get anywhere between 30 and 150 people at our events. Because we're not looking to hold events that hold hundreds of thousands of people or thousands of people.
And you're talking about holding an event with 150 people with a stage like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite an event, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't just
have... It's like a private event, but with like a full-on stage.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, obviously, you know, from a monetary point of view, we need to maybe get bigger numbers to cover costs. Because up until now, we're either...
Do you charge entry for those events?
Yeah. Yep. But I try and always keep our costs low, because a lot of our target market are mums with kids, solo mums. They don't have a lot of money. Some of them are students.
I was just about to say,
you know, so to go and pay a festival fee of, you know, $75 to $200, they don't have that. They've got to pay for babysitters. So we have a smaller event where the costings are lower. They can bring their kids. It's a safe environment for children. And we have a little kids corner. If we have events that, and some of our events are not kid friendly, and we will say, music's going to be loud, it's going to be an all-nighter, don't bring your kids to this one. But we do hold events which are really kid friendly, and then we encourage the ladies to bring their kids.
Well, what were you saying just before, where it's like you had like the playground corner or something?
Yeah,
so
I just want to interrupt. Just want to let you know we're in our last couple of minutes.
Oh, we really? Oh, okay.
All right, so I'll give the condensed version. So when we have an event, we have an area where we have an art and craft area for kids. So it's all donated art supplies that I get from Bunnings, and everybody, you know, who've got kids, you've got leftover pencils and colouring in books. We have a giant teddy pool. So we have a 3.5 metre swimming pool that's 1 metre deep that we fill completely full of teddy bears.
That's amazing, honestly.
And
one
that's
of the best
always
things to actually.
it's a cuddle
It's a
kit.
dream for an adult too.
Trust me, it's loved by adults.
Adults
So
are just
much
big
fun.
babies anyway.
And then we get to take whatever ones we want home.
And then
as
and then
well.
the sort of the
really?
mums run this sort of not a roster system, but we put the kids sort of just to the side of the dance floor. So the mums are dancing. The kids are just there. They can watch them. And if there's entertainment for the kids, they're less likely to run off. You know,
join in.
And join in. And then, you know, we have a couple of the girls that do hula hooping workshops. So they bring 30 hula hoops and get all the kids doing hula hooping.
Oh, that'd be
You know,
cool.
So I think that in some ways it's safe to bring kids to some events. Like you were, before we went live, you were saying, you know, how do I feel about bringing kids to events? I think that different crew hold more wholesome events which are family friendly, and then there are other events that are just not suitable for kids.
Yeah.
And I think that comes down to parent discretion.
Yep.
For me, I have taken my kids openly to doofs their entire life, but I'm very picky.
Yeah.
And then
You got to pick your right event.
and then
That's
in a
exactly
sense
it.
too, it's that responsibility of I know that I can't get drunk if I've got my kids.
Yeah.
That my kids' needs come before my own. So it's not a free for all of I'll go to a festival, my kids are right, I'll just get drunk and ignore them all weekend.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work
That's what I
like
was just
that.
about to say with like the teddy pool kind of thing. It's so good it's right next to the dance floor, because it's like I can imagine it's in the back of every single mother's mind. It's like, we're in the middle of the bush. I hope my toddler doesn't walk off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like get lost, because then the whole thing kind of would stop, right? Like,
And then we also openly encourage hearing protection for the kids.
Really?
So we supply earplugs.
Really?
That's
That's
at all of
really
our
good.
events. So if anyone
Like
comes,
ear muffs or just like
we do have some proper noise cancelling earmuffs. I have about 4 or 5 that the first few that come in can get them, but we have proper noise cancelling,
that
spongy,
little-
and I can't obviously give them to little babies because they're the swallowing risk. But you know, for 5-6-year-olds that are on the dance floor, I'll actually go up.
I don't
to
think
them.
you'd want to bring like an infant / toddler really to a doof, would you?
Oh, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
how many people do.
I guess you got to if well.
And as I say, you pick your events.
Yeah.
There are some that are really family orientated that have lots of workshops, and it's not just basically let's all go and get drunk out in the bush. It's more about community, and I think for those community-based events that people like Home Tree are doing are really good to bring kids to. Our Pachamama gigs, most of them, 80%, are fine for kids. We do have some that are like, nah, no kids, time for the girls to have a good night out. But yeah, I think, Roberta, how have you found kids at events? Have you seen many?
Yeah, I've definitely seen them around. Like, even when I was at Blaze, I saw them there. And like, they're all dressed up with matching outfits to the parents. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I remember seeing them at our event. And it was chilled. Like, they were like just ripping up all the insides of that pool by the end. But they looked like they were really happy, and everyone was very relaxed. It's
But
good.
It's also one of those memories kind of thing. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mum took
totally.
their little daughter there, and it's like they're having fun, meeting other kids.
it
and
added
it's just
to
a
it, you
good
know.
atmosphere. Like,
It just, it added to it all for sure. Like, they were meant to be there. It was good.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Have we got anything? Or should we plug stuff?
Plug, yep.
Plug stuff. Yeah, I beat you to it this time, Mitch.
I was thinking it before you were.
Oh yeah. Because you're the camera guy. That's why. So tonight, what we usually do at the end of the podcast is we promote everything and anything that's coming up soon.
Cool.
So anything you guys want to promote, Facebook pages, Instagrams, events, things like that.
Yeah.
So we've got our next live stream happening on the 18th of July.
Ooh.
We are showcasing most of our techno girls. So it won't be all techno all night, but most of our DJs are falling into that genre. So you can find us
What time do you guys usually start your stream?
we're starting at 6 this time.
6 p.m?
6 p.m.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to have our first international artist patching in from Singapore.
Patching in from
Xanthi
singing.
is-
Really?
Yeah,
Xanthi's
so
Xanthi, yeah.
That's pretty
Xanthi,
cool,
so we're
Yeah.
really excited to do that. So we've got an Instagram page, Pachamama Gatherings. I don't know, you
Yeah,
manage
it's
the
Pachamama
gatherings.
Gatherings.
So everything's
And then-
Pachamama Gatherings
yeah,
at
just that whole
Instagram,
word.
I
Facebook.
put all the links in for Patchamama and for birdielouise.com and for, I mean, you'll obviously talk about it in a second, but that's all in
Yeah,
the
sure.
description below the video. So if anyone wants to find those links, they're down there.
Yeah, cool.
And Bertie, have you got any live art coming up?
Yeah, well, it's only for that Brainchild ball but I'm always available to do live art. Let me know.
And commissions as well.
Yeah, and commissions. So anything that's acrylic based, I can do. I can do murals as well, and digital work too. But I have got an Instagram, which is just Birdie_Louise. So like Birdie Beetle _Louise.
You're selling some stuff on Redbubble and stuff
too.
So
I have got my. If you go to my website, which they've. Yeah, I've got like
birdie-louise.com.
Wait, so I can buy that off Redbubble because I buy stuff off Redbubble all the time. Actually,
I have a whole store on there.
Really?
It's great someone actually knows what it is.
I love Redbubble.
It's good quality stuff.
You've got face
so many
masks
prints and
t-shirts.
everything.
Yeah, I've got a lot of, I think 5 designs on all the things you can think of. So they're pretty great. So Birdie Louise is the big one that I'd probably want to
And I think the thing I loved that you did was the turntable mats.
Oh, yeah.
That you
turntable mats as well.
It's a
for
collaboration.
Custom made for a DJ.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
it's not actually for DJing because it's cork, but it is to like you can play your records with it underneath. So
so you can play your records there.
Yeah,
that's
it's
fine,
just not
though.
for scratching. That's all because it's made of cork, but it is really beautiful stuff. But yeah, just DM me if you want one of those. It's a collaboration with another guy, Perth guy. He has a studio in Scarborough. So that's
Buy
pretty
some
cool.
art, guys. Support your
But
local
yeah,
artists.
That's
just
it.
head to my website. I have a whole store.
We'll definitely put the Redbubble store at the bottom as well. That's amazing. You actually got Redbubble because I've been using it for like 2 years.
Oh, and her
That's
artwork
great.
looks fantastic on Redbubble.
It's really cool. But then I do have I only have the DJing on Instagram, but I have got a Mixcloud and a SoundCloud as well. And it's just DJ So Tired.
Yep. Links are all in the description.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming
What a
on,
time.
guys.
Thanks
Great
for having
conversation.
us.
Coming on. No, this has been really
Yes.
good. It's been really interesting, entertaining, everything. We've covered so many topics tonight.
For sure.
But I guess we got to wrap things up, Mitch. So this is episode 31.
30.
30.
Can't believe I had to say that again.
All right, so
Tally,
this is
I think.
episode 30 of the Infra-Red
Before
podcast.
you go home, do a tally.
That's it. We need to do a tally, Mitch. We need to recount our episodes.
Oh, I did before. We
Oh, you
did
did?
I
episode
believe
20.
that
This is the next one that's coming out. So logically, it's episode 30.
Yeah, until we actually upload the next one.
Celebrations. Woo!
Yeah, celebrate.
Cheers.
Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us. It's
Anytime.
been an absolute pleasure.
And
Thanks
honestly,
to everyone
like in
who's
6
watching.
months, a year or something, like we'll get you guys back on. We'll
Yeah,
see,
see how much
the
of
updates.
progress.
That's
We
it.
would have done an event. And
Or we've done a few events
quite a
by
few
then.
by then, yeah. It
Yep.
would be 3 years into DJing.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching in and tuning
Thank
in and
you.
everything. This is episode 30 of the Infra-Red podcast, and we are signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Do we know who we got on next week?
Well, we've got the Friday episode coming out, which has Jaden Rickman. So,
So we don't have anyone for Tuesday.
well,
do
that's
we?
up to you, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
I better do some bookings. Okay. We'll see you guys next week with mystery guest. Goodbye, guys.